When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. In some way, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning, such as the meaning of a sacrifice. When all seems lost, what is the only thing that keeps us standing? For Viktor Frankl, the answer is surprising and powerful: the meaning of life. Today we explore the extraordinary philosophy of Viktor Frankl, the man who transformed suffering into a guide to meaning. If you ever felt the need to find meaning in the chaos of life, this video is for you. He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. Viktor Frankl, Austrian neurologist, psychiatrist, and philosopher. His life and work are closely linked to his experience of surviving in Nazi concentration camps, an experience that profoundly influenced his understanding of human existence, suffering, and the meaning of life. From his dramatic life experience, Frankl had the ability to draw great insights. Suffering is part of life, and if we find ourselves in a dramatic or painful situation that we cannot change, what remains for us to do is choose the best attitude to face it. It did not really matter what we expected from life, but rather what life expected from us. We needed to stop asking about the meaning of life. There was no shame in it. Tears were the guarantee of having the greatest courage, the courage to suffer. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms: to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. This quote is perhaps one of Frankl's most powerful, and it's not hard to see why. It invites you to stop seeking total control of life and to focus on the one thing you can truly control: your attitude. If there is a meaning in life at all, then there must be a meaning in suffering. Suffering is an ineradicable part of life, even as fate and death. Without suffering and death, human life cannot be complete. Logotherapy does not give meaning to the patient's life. Rather, it wants the patient to find the meaning of his life by himself. Logotherapy, associated with and essential to existential analysis, is a psychotherapeutic approach theorized by Viktor Frankl, which has as its primary objective the rediscovery of the meaning, logos, of human existence. Logotherapy helps us find a purpose in life, a why that gives meaning to our existence. Existential analysis, on the other hand, pushes us to reflect on the meaning of our past life and on the responsibilities we have for the future. In other words, logotherapy shows us the direction, while existential analysis helps us understand how to face the path. Like Heidegger, also for Frankl, man is a Dasein, a being there. As such, man is a being for death, hence the great importance of the search for meaning. Logotherapy, in fact, foresees the uniqueness of the person and the uniqueness of meaning. Every man is unique and unrepeatable and therefore is called to realize a unique meaning, which he can find only in himself. Meaning must therefore be discovered individually, through working in the world, receiving from the world, and or courageously facing extreme difficulties. Man's inner strength may raise him above his outward fate. Life ultimately means taking the responsibility to find the right answer to its problems and to fulfill the tasks which it constantly sets for each individual. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Decisions, not conditions, determine what a man is. What makes you is not about the circumstances. It's not the condition you're in. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. How many times do we react instinctively, driven by anger, fear, or the impulse of the moment? A criticism, a bad news, or a bad day seem to have the power to control us. But Frankl teaches us a powerful lesson. Between what happens to us and our reaction there is a space, and in that space exists our greatest freedom, choice. In a certain sense, suffering can be transformed when it is imbued with a sense of meaning or purpose. Suffering. Man cannot avoid suffering, but we give suffering meaning by the way in which we respond to it. We must never forget that we may also find meaning in life even when confronted with a hopeless situation, when facing a fate that cannot be changed. For what then matters is to bear witness to the uniquely human potential at its best, which is to transform a personal tragedy into triumph, to turn one's predicament into a human achievement. When we are no longer able to change a situation, just think of an incurable disease such as inoperable cancer. We are challenged to change ourselves. This idea may seem cruel at first, but let me make it perfectly clear that in no way is suffering necessary to find meaning. I only insist that meaning is possible even in spite of suffering, provided certainly that the suffering is unavoidable. It's not suffering itself that crushes us, but its apparent uselessness. If something seems useless or pointless, our minds collapse. Imagine two people stuck in a difficult situation, like an unfulfilling job. One feels trapped, with no way out. The other sees that job as a bridge to something bigger. Which of the two people will endure longer? That's right, the one who has meaning. If you have a why, the how becomes less important. It may sound philosophical, but it's also practical. Ask yourself, why am I taking on this challenge? What is it leading me to? Viktor Frankl's philosophy is not just a theoretical thought, but a practical guide for life. In times of pain and uncertainty, let us remember that it is not so much what happens to us, but how we respond. Responsibility, individual freedom, the search for meaning are the legacy of Viktor Frankl. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Viktor Frankl's powerful insights. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What meaning do you find in his philosophy? Until next time, stay curious and keep searching for meaning.